Not even the pharaohs dared to speak their names in vain, from the architect of the cosmos to the serpent that hungers to devour the sun itself. These are the 10 most powerful gods who ever ruled the Nile. Ancient forces that shaped existence, civilized the world, and kept reality from collapsing into eternal darkness. This is their story. At number 10, Apophis, the serpent of the void. Apophis is not a god. He is something far more terrifying. He is the living embodiment of Isfet, pure chaos, a force that existed before creation itself and vows to drag the entire universe back into absolute nothingness. Every single night, when the sun disappears below the horizon, a war of epic proportions erupts in the underworld. Apep unleashes his deafening roar and his paralyzing, soul-freezing gaze to stop Ra from completing his journey. For the ancient Egyptians, the fact that the sun rose every morning was proof that chaos had been defeated once again. Earthquakes? That was Apep thrashing as Set's spear wounded him. Solar eclipses? The terrifying moment the serpent actually swallowed the sun. Priests and people screamed, beat drums, and performed magical rites to help Ra break free. Because Apep is a reminder that peace and life are fragile, and darkness is always lurking at the borders of creation. At number 9, Khnum, the craftsman who sculpted your very soul. While other gods issued commands from celestial thrones, Khnum got his hands dirty. Depicted as a ram-headed man seated before a potter's wheel, he personally shaped every human body and the spirit inside it before they entered the world. No two beings alike, every detail deliberate. But Khnum's power didn't stop there. He also controlled the flooding of the Nile. He could open or close those floodgates, deciding whether Egypt would feast or starve. 7 years of drought, 7 years of famine, until the pharaoh made massive offerings and Khnum finally let the waters flow again. Khnum teaches us that destiny belongs to the one who controls the source. Number 8, Sobek, the crocodile god, the predator who became a protector. The Nile was born from Sobek's sweat, feared for his ferocity, yet invoked as a healer. His brute strength helped Horus recover the remains of his murdered father from the depths of the water. In his temples, sacred crocodiles were adorned with jewels and fed the finest meats, physical bridges between man and divine power. And there existed a belief, dark, dangerous, and deeply fascinating, that eating the flesh of a Nile crocodile allowed a warrior to directly absorb Sobek's strength, speed, endurance, ferocity, the ultimate hunter's honor, or a direct challenge to the god's sovereignty. Sobek reminds us that the force of nature cannot just be worshipped from the shore. Sometimes it must be integrated into your very spirit to survive. At number 7, Anubis, the guardian who decides your eternal destiny. He is not the dark reaper Western culture imagines. He is something far more profound, a compassionate guide, a supreme technician of immortality. It was Anubis who invented mummification, not as ritual, but as a doorway to eternal life. In the Hall of Two Truths, it is his steady hands that adjust the scales, weighing your heart against the feather of Maat, and his black fur. In ancient Egypt, black was not the color of death. It was the color of the fertile Nile silt, the raw material of life itself. Anubis was black because he symbolized rebirth. He is the alchemist who converts the decomposition of the body into the purity of an eternal spirit. Number 6, Thoth, the god whose words alter reality. Thoth is not just the scribe of the gods, he is the mind behind cosmic order. He invented hieroglyphs. He calculated the position of every star and planet in the firmament with mathematical precision. When the gods clashed and threatened to tear existence apart, Thoth stepped in with logic. But the darkest legend surrounding Thoth is the Book of Thoth, a forbidden grimoire containing just 2 spells. The first, the ability to understand the language of every living creature. The second, to see the gods themselves in their true terrifying form. Those who stole it suffered unimaginable tragedies, because Tol enforced one law above all others: knowledge is sacred, and only the worthy may wield it. At number 5, Set, the most misunderstood god in all of Egyptian mythology. Yes, he murdered his own brother Osiris. Yes, he is the god of the desert, of storms, of everything wild and unpredictable. But Set is not the personification of evil. He is the personification of necessary chaos. Because every night, while the world sleeps, Ra's solar bark must cross the underworld, and Apep, the void serpent, waits to devour the sun. No luminous god could hold that gaze. No radiant deity could stare into those eyes without succumbing to terror. Only Set could. Armed with his spear and his deafening roar, Set stood at the prow of that bark every single night, facing the darkness so the sun could rise. The same god who brought death into the world of men is the supreme guardian who prevents existence itself from being swallowed whole. Without Set's fury, the sun would never rise again. Number 4. Horus, the falcon god, the rightful heir. His right eye was the sun, his left eye the moon. When Horus closed both eyes, total darkness consumed existence. After his father Osiris was murdered and dismembered, Horus spent his youth hidden in the marshes, training, waiting, burning with purpose. When he finally faced his uncle Set in a war that lasted decades, it wasn't just a battle of strength, it was a battle for cosmic order itself. During the conflict, Set tore out Horus's left eye, the moon, and shattered it. But Thoth intervened, restored it, and from that act of healing was born the Ujat, the Eye of Horus, the most powerful amulet in history, a universal symbol of healing, protection, and the ability to rebuild after devastation. Horus is not just the god who fights, he is the god who, even mutilated, finds a way to return stronger. At number 3, Osiris, Lord of Eternity, judge of every soul that ever lived. What if your entry into paradise depended on your heart being lighter than a single feather? For the ancient Egyptians, that was not a metaphor. That was the ultimate test, conducted under the gaze of Osiris himself. He was the first mythical pharaoh of Egypt, a civilizing king who taught men agriculture, law, and music, until his brother Set, consumed by envy, murdered him and scattered his body into 14 pieces across the land. But his wife Isis, in an act of absolute magical devotion, recovered every fragment, and alongside Anubis, performed the first ritual of mummification in history. When Osiris was reassembled, he did not return to mortal life. He transcended into something higher. He became the first immortal being. And for the first time in history, death was not the end. It was a transition. Number 2. Ra, the god who must die and be reborn every single day just to keep the universe alive. Ra is the primordial source of all energy, the engine of time itself. But unlike any other god, Ra carries a divine biological vulnerability. He is born as a child at dawn. He reaches maturity at noon, and by sunset, he is an old man. Every night, Ra descends into the underworld, where Apep waits, and must battle the darkness to regenerate his light. Without this cycle of death and rebirth, the sun would lose the strength to illuminate creation. Ra is the only god who must earn his right to rule the universe, every single day. His deepest secret was his true name, a sonic vibration that maintained the very cohesion of matter. If anyone ever extracted it from his core, Ra would lose sovereignty over the heavens entirely. And at number 1, Amun. How do you defeat an enemy who is everywhere but cannot be seen? Amun was not just a god. He was the invisible force that held the atoms of the Egyptian universe together. He is self-created, the being who emerged from chaos before time began, before light existed, before matter took form. He is not a god of physical action. He is a god of immanent will. His invisible presence determined the fate of kingdoms from the shadows of pure mystery. His name means simply the Hidden One. His body was said to be made of divine lapis lazuli, vibrating at a frequency invisible to the human eye. He spoke himself into existence through the cry of the great cackler, a blast that initiated the vibration of all matter. Even the ancient gods called him the Faceless God. In the temples of Thebes, priests were warned, uttering his secret name would disintegrate reality itself. Amun is the uncaused cause, the intelligence that precedes matter, the architect who designed the laws of reality before the first ray of light ever existed. His will is the gravity of worlds, his whisper, the spark of consciousness. He is the force in space, the breath that keeps the sky separated from the earth, the reason stars follow their course. And as long as air exists, Amun cannot be destroyed. From the serpent of the void to the invisible architect of all existence, these 10 gods didn't just rule a civilization, they were the explanation for everything: the sunrise, the flood, the earthquake, the stars, and the silence between heartbeats. If this countdown stirred something ancient inside you, drop a like and subscribe. We're just getting started. And before you go, which of these gods resonates with you most? The chaos of Set, the justice of Osiris, or the invisible, all-encompassing power of Amun? Tell us below. Some people think they are real, but without scientific evidence or powerful logic, believing that is funny.